Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Code for Progress. So today I am going to explain you about concept of memory in computer. Concept of memory. As we all know, we have two types of memory in a computer. So that is hard disk and RAM. So today's concept is why we require these two types of memories in a computer. In any computer, we have storage device and a processing device. So in 1940s, we have the architecture like this. This was the storage device and this was the processing device. So the storage device was hard disk and the processing device was microprocessor. So this was the architecture at the time of 1940s. So these were connected through a series of wires called as bus. Hard disk, it is a magnetic technology device. Hard disk is a magnetic technology device and microprocessor is a semiconductor technology device. If you have watched my last session, you will find that I have explained about the microprocessor. So microprocessor is a semiconductor technology device and it consists of n number of transistors and diodes. So as hard disk is a magnetic technology device, in functionality it is very slow. In functionality it is very slow. But microprocessor, as it is a semiconductor technology device, it is ultra fast. In functionality it is ultra fast. So very slow working device was connected to ultra fast working device. So this later they realized that this was the worst architecture they had. This was the worst architecture they had. So later they decided to remove this hard disk from the architecture itself. So that is for the first time they bought a concept of memory which is called as RAM. They introduced a memory called as RAM for the first time when they removed the hard disk from the old architecture. So this RAM was a semiconductor technology device. So they thought of connecting both the fast working devices. The new architecture was like this. So the new architecture was like this. RAM was connected to microprocessor through a series of wires called as bus. So this RAM is now semiconductor technology device and this is also ultra fast. So later they found that any memory which is built on semiconductor technology device will become volatile. So what do you mean by volatile? Volatile devices are such devices which will hold the data until there is a constant power supply. Once the computer is switched off, all the data will be erased from the RAM. All the data will be erased from the RAM. Okay, so magnetic technology device will be non-volatile and they will hold the data permanently. So magnetic technology device are non-volatile and they will hold the data permanently. So they decided to bring hard disk to the architecture. So now the new architecture is like, we have hard disk here. Hard disk is connected to RAM. RAM is connected to microprocessor. So all these are connected through a bus. Okay. So now the new architecture is like this. So we require these two types of memory in a computer. So these both are required, hard disk and a RAM. So RAM is what? Volatile device, and hard disk is non-volatile device. So whenever we give input to a RAM, so a copy of data will be stored in hard disk, so that when a computer is switched off, the data will not be lost. So a copy of data will be stored in hard disk, and this process is called as saving. Okay, so this process, whenever we give input, taking a copy of input from a RAM and storing in hard disk, and storing in hard disk, it will store it as a file. Okay, so the memory unit of hard disk is file, so it will store it as a file, and this process is called as saving. Okay, and whenever the program has to execute, again a copy of data whichever it is stored in hard disk will be taken to RAM. So this process is called as loading. This process is called as loading. Taking a data from hard disk to RAM, which is called as loading. Okay. So in this, RAM is a primary device. Primary memory. RAM is a primary memory and hard disk is a secondary memory. Why RAM is called as primary memory? Because to the microprocessor, it is like RAM is directly accessed by microprocessor. RAM is directly accessed by microprocessor. So to microprocessor, RAM is a primary memory. Okay, but hard disk is accessed through RAM. The copy of or the data is first given to RAM from the hard disk, and RAM is given to microprocessor. So microprocessor is not directly accessed by hard disk. So hard disk, for microprocessor, hard disk is a secondary memory. Okay, so now did you got the point why RAM is called as primary memory and why hard disk is called as secondary memory? So let us see some of the differences between hard disk and RAM. Hard disk and RAM. So firstly, the first difference is hard disk is a secondary memory. Hard disk is a secondary memory. RAM is a primary memory. Next, hard disk is a non-volatile device. RAM is a volatile device. Next, hard disk, it is bulky, that is large in size, and RAM is compact in size. RAM is compact in size. Then RAM is little costly. Price wise it is costly. Hard disk, it is cheaper. As compared to RAM, it is cheaper. Cheaper than RAM. Okay. And let us see the memory unit. The memory unit of RAM is byte. Okay, and the memory unit of hard disk is file. Okay, so these are the differences between hard disk and RAM. And A microprocessor also stores some of the data. Microprocessor also stores some of the data. So it will store in the form of, the memory unit of microprocessor is register. Okay. So this is just for information. Okay. So the memory unit of RAM is byte, the memory unit of hard disk is file, and the memory unit of microprocessor is register. So this is all about the concept of memory and why we require both hard disk and RAM in a computer. If you have any doubts, you can put all your doubts in the comment section. I'll try to answer all your queries. Thank you for watching my video.